Time of death. He wiped his forehead with his arm before he looked at the large black and white clock. Asystole, 12:32 p.m. Hellfire and bloody damnation. Gavin could only look down at the young, beaten face lying relaxed and lifeless on the operating table. Bruised and swollen, it pleaded for help. Help that never came. Or when it had been too damn late. Clear tubes ran out of her. IVs hung suspended from metal hooks. The black plastic of the ventilator stood still and silent now, no longer pumping air into her lungs. He fisted his hands on his hips. Pointless. It was all so damned pointless. Everything about this situation could have been prevented. Everything from the teen being pregnant in the first place, to her abuse, to her death. If only someone had taken the time to run an ultrasound down in the ER, they would have seen the internal bleeding. Someone might have caught on to the fact that the young girl was hemorrhaging to death. And by the time he had discovered the mistake up in the maternity ward, it had been too late. His sigh heated his face against the clinical mask he wore. People shuffled quietly around him. The coppery scent of blood mingled with the stringent smells of antiseptic and disinfectants. Dr. Kinncaid. He glanced up to see the anesthesiologist, Dr. Rita Farganio, holding the door. Most of the others had filed out. I'll be along in a moment. The door swooshed behind her as it swung closed. Gavin gently laid his hand on the girl's forehead. I'm sorry, honey. I'm so damn sorry. On another sigh, he turned, jerking off his bloodied surgical uniform, and left the OR. He didn't care what others thought. Distance was all well and good, and a necessary part of the job, but sometimes certain cases and certain patients grabbed you by the throat. Cold water gushed over his hands. The fruity scent of the antibacterial soap tingled his nose. Was there even anyone to notify? The girl's parents? He'd learned they were in custody, since the father was the one who'd beaten his pregnant daughter. And who would notify them? Him? Their lawyer? Or the cops? Gavin tried to remember if he'd ever been in such a situation before, and couldn't think of a single one. The closest he'd come was when he'd been called in to help with a molestation case, and needed the parents' permission to do the exam, only to find out the father was the bastard behind it. The excess water sprinkled on the stainless steel as he turned off the faucet and reached for a paper towel. He tossed the towel angrily into the trash bin. Dr. Kinncaid? Asked a gray-haired nurse in the maternity ward's pastel uniforms. What now? He turned. Yes? There's a woman inquiring about Miss Gibbons. I just heard what happened. She's been pacing the floor for the last hour or so. She said she was the girl's social worker. Hell, the social worker. Great. Wonderful. Thank you, Bess. I'll take care of it. He held open the door for Bess and stepped into the hall. I didn't think you were on call today, Doc, she said briskly. I wasn't, but they called me in for this. I was supposed to help my brother move into his new house today, and the whole family is having some lawn party or something at the place. I need to get up there. You look like you need some sleep. He grinned. That too. Well, doctors need their rest too. She opened the nurse's station door and disappeared inside. His most hated part of the job. The pale green walls did not soothe him. Pastel colors on the maternity floor seemed to mock him. There was nothing he hated more than losing a patient, mother or child, except having to explain it to family or friends, to shatter worlds. Well, putting it off wasn't going to make it the least bit easier. Gavin walked down the hallway towards the waiting room. At the double doors, he looked through the window. Yes, indeed. There she was, pacing down the distance to the doors opposite him that led to the recovery rooms. The waiting room, along with the nurse's station and nursery, set between the recovery rooms on one side and labor delivery and the ORs on his side, appeared mostly empty, save for a few people clustered around the glass wall of the nursery. Miss Social Worker turned just short of the group and started back towards him. Her jeans and t-shirt, with white sneakers and a ponytail, made her look like an undergrad. What kind of social worker was she? Wasn't her job to protect those children in her care? She looked too young to be a social worker, with her reddish blonde hair pulled back. On a resigned sigh, he pushed through the door. She looked up, and her gaze locked with his.